Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. Happy, awesome Saturday to you. It is awesome Saturday. It is the Sabbath. We are here today to say some good stuff about us. We are here today to really reflect on just how amazing that we have it. This being the Sabbath, this is the day to stop doing and start being. It's a day where we hang out with awesome people. We do awesome things. We hang out in awesome places. We eat awesome food. It is awesome Saturday. Happy awesome Saturday. Saturday is awesome. Hello, Shauna. Good to see you here today. Thanks so much for getting some ass. Shauna is my regular get some ass on Saturday girl. Very much appreciate that. Anyway, yeah, it is great to see you here. But anyway, today we are actually suspending the talk about magic words because it is Memorial Day weekend, and I've been thinking a lot about legacy recently. And so the topic today is that legacy is a living thing. So we tend to think about legacy as something that we leave behind, something that something that persists after we die. That's what we think of legacy as being. But legacy isn't just something that we leave behind, it's something that we live into being. Legacy is created while we're alive, not after we're dead. And so today, it being Memorial Day weekend, today and this weekend and Memorial Day is not just about remembering the dead, it's about honoring them by how we live. And so it's very important to understand that that people in the past have sacrificed. And so we should ask ourselves, what are we doing with what we've been given? What are we doing with the stability? What are we doing with the rights that somebody else was willing to kill and die for? What are we doing with the social norms that exist right now that didn't exist a mere generation ago? And so really at this point, I just invite you to ground yourself in this moment, ground yourself in this breath, ground yourself in this sacred now, because legacy is not a statue. Legacy is a stream. Legacy moves through us. So I have a story. There have been, man, I have definitely been party to quite a bit of folks passing away in the last couple of weeks. I've a lot of people that I know are no longer on this plane of existence or this plane of understanding. And boy, let me tell you, it's messed me up pretty good, especially when some of them were quite unexpected. But I'll tell you a story of one of the very first unexpected deaths and how it affected me and how it affected other people. And because it's just such a beautiful story about legacy. So when I was young, maybe like 20, 21 years old, something like that, I had a friend named Joe. And Joe died way too young. Joe, it was a tragic accident. It was it was just an accident. He died way too young. His mother found him when he was still warm. He was still kind of technically alive a little bit, but they couldn't do anything. He was gone by the time that she found him. And so they took him to the hospital. Well, you'd think that would be the end of the story. A kid dies when he's 21 years old, but from what it was essentially just a freak accident. He didn't want to die, and he didn't plan to. It was just a freak accident. Well, anyway, they got him to the hospital, and he's still warm. He's just barely there. They're unable to save him, and he passes away. Joe was an organ donor, though, and in his death, he saved countless lives. Like it was in the dozens, because the way that he died. Hello, Shaitan. Good to see you here today. The way that Joe passed away was one where his body was still very much preserved. It was just that he was brain dead. And then obviously when he finally did pass, he was able to save a tremendous number of lives. And so his one of the people who received his organs received something that otherwise he would not have lived if he didn't receive it. One of Joe's um, one of Joe's one of Joe's organ recipients actually received his heart. And so this man's life depended on Joe's gift. And I actually got to meet the guy. I got to listen to Joe's heart beating in his chest. His mother gets to listen to Joe's heart beating in this guy's chest. But he was saying how it was really his last chance, that he was basically just on a machine 24/7, 365, to make his heart, or to pump his blood through his body. And that now that he has a heart that works, and a 21-year-old heart, and this guy was in his 40s when he got this 21-year-old heart, he he said that it gave him a completely new lease on life. I met him at an organ donation event that his mother had sponsored and actually organized, because while Joe's organs are still in a lot of other people's bodies, like I've seen his eyes in another person, I've heard his heart, I've heard his lungs. The fact is that the person whose life that he saved was his mother's, because his mother found purpose in that death. His mother found purpose. At one point, when I knew her, she was really directionless. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't know what she was doing. And in the aftermath of his unfortunate passing, she became an outspoken advocate for organ donation. She realized that even though it was a freak accident and she couldn't do anything about it, that a choice that he had made, an intentional decision that he had made, was something that had saved so many people's lives. And she got to still, like she says, she told me in the aftermath, she said that she said, my son's not around, and yet he still lives. I've inherited 25 sons and daughters. I lost the one. I inherited a whole bunch of other ones. And so Joe's death transformed her life, and through her, the lives of many more, because as an outspoken advocate and as an organizer, she has signed up hundreds of thousands of people for organ donation in the state of Colorado and also nationwide. So, I mean, my friend Joe did not live a long life. He did, however, live a very powerful life. And his legacy isn't a monument. His legacy is momentum. His legacy was the way that he changed the directions of so many people's lives, even through his unfortunate and untimely and very early death. So we need to rethink legacy. Legacy isn't a name on our wall. Legacy is more of a ripple in the water. We tend to think of legacy as what happens after we die, but in the reality is that legacy is how we live right now. Legacy is something that we create every single day as we are living. Legacy isn't about having buildings named after us. It's about the kindness that we show when nobody is watching. It's about the child that we nurture. It's about the stranger that we help. It's about the neighbor that we uplift. It's about the people that we assist when there is nobody looking, when there is no reward to be had. It's about the love that we share. It's not measured in time. It's not measured in trophies. It's measured in the lives that are touched by our presence. And when I consider the friends that I have, the amazing, beautiful, good friends that I have, and how much their presence has touched my life, and how much that your presence is good for me, and the way that just knowing you is something that has made my life better, it's easy for me to understand how also my presence makes other people's lives better too. Legacy is a ripple in water, and we may never ever see the shore that it reaches. That doesn't mean that it didn't matter, though. The ripple nevertheless moved a lot of things on its way to reaching that shore. So, just as we're the product of the generations that come before us, the generations that come after are going to be the product of us. Those who we are raising, those who we are loving, those who we are just touching, even for the shortest period of time, they are the product of the way that we're living. The generations that come are our legacy, whether they're related to us or not. The people that we're nice to when we go to the grocery store or the bank are our legacy. The people that we are nice to in traffic when we let them in, or we give them some grace when they screw up and we forgive them, they are our legacy. I mean, think back one or two generations. Think about how far that we've come. I remember that when I was younger, I used to work with, I worked with my dad's employees. I worked in my dad's shop, and my dad's employees were all at least one, maybe two generations before me. And they would talk about the way that they were raised. They would talk about the way that they were disciplined. They would talk about the just the circumstances of their upbringing. And every time they talked about it, I would think to myself, I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that all the mistakes that were made in your generation, a lot of them didn't come down to my generation, because I wasn't raised that way. I was raised in a much more loving and caring and empathetic and compassionate and kind way. And it wasn't because my mom and dad were any different. It's because my mom and dad looked at the way that they were raised and said to themselves, some of this works and some of this doesn't. And we're going to really double down on what works. And as I have a daughter now, I'm also thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, how am I going to raise her? Some of the stuff that my parents did worked really well, and some of the stuff I'm going to do differently. And in the end, my daughter is going to be raised on my shoulders, just like I was raised on my parents' shoulders. And so, somebody struggled for the rights and the opportunities and the freedom that we enjoy today. And so it's one of the reasons that we memorialize this weekend, why we memorialize the folks who chose to who chose to put themselves into a position where they would give their lives and were willing to give their lives for these things. And so in the end, the choices that we make right now are going to shape the world that somebody else inherits. We're not going to inherit we're not going to reap what we sow all the time. But let me tell you, who does reap what we sow are the people who come after us, or those who are younger than us. They're going to inherit the world that we're building. And so, I don't believe that time is a straight line. I believe that time loops and echoes and connects. Time is more of like a layer cake where the past and the present and the future all exist, all at the same moment. It's just that we personally are traveling through it. And the fact is that we are part of a living and breathing collective consciousness. And so what we do right now echoes in eternity, because and to those that we do it, it is done to us because we are them. And so when we understand that we are collectively conscious, and that we are having all the experiences all at once, it's just that in every now moment we are focusing on one thing or another. It allows us to have a more eternal perspective. And so I see a lot and I hear a lot about how the world is not good right now, about how there's all manner of just absolute unhinged craziness happening in the world as it is currently. And the fact is that trying to control the whole world is a recipe for depression. Watching the news and watching all of these people who are powerful make decisions that we hate is a recipe for depression. Arguing with other people on Facebook about how Team Red or Team Blue is the better team is a recipe for depression. But how about shaping our little corner of the world? That's a recipe for empowered success. When we shape our little corner of the world, when we intentionally choose that the places that we have some influence are going to be good, then we are setting ourselves up for success. We are setting ourselves up to feel that empowerment. And the circumstances in our lives matter a lot less when we realize that we have control over our state of being. And so when it comes right down to it, we feel small because the world is big. But legacy was never about scale. Legacy is always about how the ripples that we create can have a tremendous effect. The rock that falls into the water to make the ripple is nowhere near the size of the ripple. The ripple is 10, 100, 1,000, a million times larger than that little stone. And in the same way, the effect that we have on the world is 10 or 100 or a million times larger than we will ever be. And when we realize that we have that control in this moment, then it gives us that sense of empowerment to understand that what we're doing really does matter, even when it doesn't seem like it is, even when it doesn't seem like this world is going the direction that we'd like it to. The fact is that the love we share has an effect that is far larger than any news headlines. My friend Joe did not save the world. He did save a world. He saved a lot of worlds, and he saved his mom's world most of all, because the accident that happened to him could have happened to anybody. And the fact is that his mom could have gone one direction and continued being directionless and moved into through serious depression. And the fact is that of course she had lots of pain. How could it have been any different? However, she used that pain and she galvanized herself, and she chose very intentionally to make the world a better place, to use that to use her son's death as something that she was able to just make a lot of people's lives better because. So we don't need to fix everything. When we think about legacy, we don't need to fix everything, and nor can we fix everything. We just need to touch what is ours to touch. We just need to apply a little bit of our personal essence to the people around us, to the situations around us. We just need to love the people around us just a little bit. And so we ask ourselves, like, what's one life that we can impact today? How can we make one person's life a little bit better today? What's one little habit that we can start now that's going to create a legacy? Remember, legacy isn't the names on the buildings. Legacy isn't having a charity or a trust. Legacy is what we do every single day. And since we are products of habit, our habits are either creating a legacy that we like or a legacy that we don't. And so, what is one little habit that we can start that right now that will create a legacy later? Legacy is a living choice. And so, memory that doesn't shape action just turns into a myth. Action that honors memory becomes legacy. So, I know that I'm going to see a whole lot of people behaving in a whole lot of different ways this Memorial Day. We're going to have the folks who are out there because it's a party, and they are getting drunk and they are partying and they are doing their they are doing their best to live in this moment and to have a good moment. I'm going to see some folks who have lost people. Basically everybody that I know that's ever served in the military or ever been touched by somebody who served in the military or who has ever lost anybody who served in the military is going to say something to the effect of, "This isn't a day for partying. This is a day for remembering." That all gave some gave all. But the fact of the matter is that that when we turn that memory into action, then it turns into legacy. If we just wallow in the memory of those who are departed, then their lives just become a myth, and really there's no action that's taken. And so therefore the message here is that not just to remember, to respond to the lives of the people who came before us and to the people who sacrificed. Don't wait until we're gone to leave a legacy. We're leaving a legacy right now. The wake up call is a legacy. What you're doing today is a legacy. The way that you show up today is a legacy. And the question isn't if we're going to leave a legacy, because everybody leaves a legacy. The question is, what kind of a legacy are we leaving? Nobody's perfect, okay? And legacy doesn't require perfection. Legacy just requires presence. Legacy just requires that we show up every day. We show up every day, and we show up every day intentionally. And as we do it intentionally, who's going to show up every day intentionally badly? When I look at my own behavior and consider the times that I really didn't behave well, that I behaved like a jerk, or that I behaved badly, or that I hurt people, when I really look at that, one of the overarching themes is that I wasn't present. I wasn't thinking about it. I was unconsciously acting, and that's why I acted so badly. And yet, when I consciously act, I consciously consider the lives of the people around me. I consciously consider how my actions are going to affect them. Then, in that case, I act well. So, we don't need to be perfect. We just need to be present. And in that presence, we will find the perfection. The future is shaped by what we do in this breath, in this step, and in this now. And so, what are we modeling for the next generation? How are they going to be changed because of us? What kind of a story are we writing with our actions? What story are people going to tell about our lives when one day the only thing that remains of our lives are some engraving on a marble stone? What kind of a heartbeat is going to live through us? How are we going to share our heart with the people who are around us? My friend Joe shared his heart quite literally. His heart still beats, to the best of my knowledge, in the breast of another person. And that doesn't mean that we have to die in order to share our hearts. We share our hearts through whenever we move our tongues. We share our hearts through the words that we say. We share our hearts through the actions that we do. We share our hearts through the perspectives that we share. And so, we too, and you and I, our hearts are still beating. And so let's make every single one of those heartbeats count. The fact is that the rhythm and the sound of our heart You know, I mean, put your hand over your heart. And put your hand over it. Do you feel that rhythm? Do you feel that sound? That is a drum beat. That is the beat of our potential. That is the beat of our presence. That is the beat of our power. Feel it. And remember that somebody's life is better because you are in it. So live like it matters because it does. All right. All right. My beautiful friends, I want to say thank you guys so much for attending the awesome Saturday service. It has been lovely to just discuss legacy and to really to really home in on the fact that legacy is something that we do every single day. I'm going to go have an awesome Saturday. I encourage you guys to have an awesome Saturday too. This is the Sabbath. Let's not focus on what we are doing. Let us focus on who we are being. Let's hang out with some awesome people. Let's eat some awesome food. Let's be in awesome places. Let's do awesome things, regardless of all that's going on in our lives. Let's just focus on the fact right now that we are alive in this world. We can manifest change. We have that power. We have tremendous power. We have tremendous potential. And that the only difference between stumbling blocks and stepping stones are the way that we use them. I will talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm sorry. No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. Monday at 9 a.m. The wake up call returns, and I am very excited to have it return. I have gotten a lot of sleep over the past week, and I feel like my cup is refilled. It is time to pour it out and to pour it out onto my friends again. I love you. I appreciate you. I care about you. I think that you're awesome, and we are going to have an awesome Saturday together. Until then, aloha from paradise.